Marc-André Selosse is a French biologist and ecologist who studies something that most of us never think about: the invisible world that makes everything possible, the microbes in our soils, in our plants, even in ourselves. He cares about the living interconnection between microbes, between fungi, between plants, and how they work together. He's a French author and professor, and he has a real gift for making these subjects easy to understand and easy to care about. And for grape growers, understanding the importance of healthy soils leads to stronger, more resilient vines and better wine.
That's it. That's how to wake up the sleeping beauty. And the sleeping beauty, you know what? It's microbes, it's mushrooms.
Yes.
And it's fungi. It's just speaking to my heart.
Yeah. It's a gamma ray. A gamma ray, is a Swiss grape that we're starting to plant here in Quebec. And Domaine Genival is really, I think, a domain that'll be after your own heart. They're really passionate, they're organic, really passionate about regenerative practices.
Not too much of color, huh? They don't make too long macerations, I guess.
Yeah, short maceration and short aging and just a really vibrant, juicy, bright wine. What do you think, Patrick?
I think it's perfect, especially for us.
Yeah.
We like to cross a lot of meats, especially white fish with red wine.
Oh,
Do things a
cool.
little more Spanish.
Yeah.
So this is perfect for us.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. And it's called Un C4. And it's really playing on the idea of one of these days, the dream of people understanding, how great Quebec viticulture is becoming, the potential of gamma ray. So very cool. And I think that bright, juicy acidity is going to go so well with your Canlon and
very delicate
like
tannins, which is the danger with this cepage, huh?
Yes.
To get into too much of tannins. Here it's delicate.
You obviously are a French professor, author of several science books that even people like me can understand. And in one of your books, Jamais Seul, Never Alone, you explain that all living beings, we are never alone. We are living with the microbial world. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. They associate microbes to germs.
Well, microbes is like nature, life. It can be good and bad. It's both at the same time. So of course you can be ill because of microbes, but also you can every day be healthy because you have a microbiota on your skin, in your gut, that is helping you to perform your physiological functions. And it's the same for plants.
What is a living soil? You talk about this a lot.
Between 1/2 and 3/4 of all the living beings of an ecosystem are underground. In 1 gram of soil that you can have in your hands, you have thousands of species of bacteria, 1,000 species of fungi. The life in the soil is making pores, making holes in which the water is retained, in which the air is coming. This life is processing the rocks into fertilizers for the plants, the dead organic matter. And there is no soil without life because the soil is alive.
But today, concretely, our soils have been terribly degraded. How has this happened over time? How have we gotten ourselves into this situation?
Plowing, tilling, fertilizers, pesticides, bare soil where nothing is growing for weeks or months. This is killing the life of soil and making the soils weaker and less fertile. And also,
most people think, when we think of gardening, we think of turning the earth. The soil looks healthier when it's been recently plowed, recently turned.
That's a cultural view. And if you think of pre-Columbians, they had agriculture without plowing.
Okay.
Think of that. It's a very Eurasiatic way to plow. And we find it nice, the soil that is going through the hands. But no, that's a soil that is erodable.
Yes.
It is eroded when it's tilled 10 times more than if no till.
We were talking earlier about your passion for ecology, for the relationship between fungi, especially mycorrhizae, and the roots of plants. Can you explain that to a layman.
Fungi, they are made of microscopic filaments
Yes.
called hyphae. Those hyphae are growing in soil. They are eating dead organic matter and so on. So it's a place for the daily life, microscopic life of fungi to occur. And my favorite ones are those who are not feeding themselves in the soil. They feed on the root of plant. They
Yes.
take a bit of produce photosynthesis, and in exchange, they are foraging in the soil, vastly exploring the soil to find phosphorus, nitrogen, oligoelements, water, a bit for themselves and a bit for the plant. And they exchange sugar, they trade sugars against nutrients from the soil. Plus, they protect the roots against illness.
Okay.
And they protect their food source. They are not so altruistic. They are beneficial to the plant. And it's the core story that the plants, since they occur on Earth,
Yes.
they are feeding with the help of fungi. The very first plant, they were doing that. Nowadays, still 9 species out of 10 strictly required to find those fungi in the soil. Hopefully, they are everywhere. But if you till, then you start to kill them.
Okay. How is
So-
it killing them?
Oh, no, microscopic filament, you
Yes.
till,
You're
they are
breaking
broken
it all apart.
Not only by tilling, also because when we bring mineral fertilizers, the plant can feed itself.
Yeah.
So it just,
But we're telling it, we'll
Throwing
give you
away the
food.
fungus.
Don't bother to find your own food.
if you are living at the first tier of a pizzeria, you don't call Uber Eats to get a pizza. That's it. We just break down this symbiosis. We think we help the plant. On the short term, we do. On the long term, we make it more dependent.
And bringing this obviously back to wine, the subject we're here for today, why is the vine such a good example of the importance of these
First,
living soils?
Vitis vinifera, and also all the rootstocks, those roots on which we graft the Merlot, Chardonnay, etc. They are mycorrhizal. They form such association. We also know that depending on the fungus that are on the roots, it may change a bit the secondary metabolites everywhere in the plant. That means, concretely, terpenes and tannins, those compounds that in the berries are preparing the taste of the wine.
Yes.
It's true also that to make wine, we need a lot of pesticides. If we don't care in house, we put a lot of fertilizers, we plow between the rows. We are not in the best situation to make the best out of the soil life, and especially to make the best out of mycorrhizal fungi.
It's actually interesting that you mentioned that because we talk a lot about wine, grape growing, having a special relationship with the earth, having a reverence for the land, the concept of terroir.
Let's not be too negative. People were always making the best with their knowledge.
Yes.
So I don't blame the winemakers that were plowing, putting fertilizers. But nowadays we have another view of that.
We have
and
the knowledge.
we can, and some do already better, and we may encourage them by consuming that. Because whenever we consume a wine that was not made as well as this one, for
Yeah.
example, we are also responsible for the
It's true.
mishandling.
Ethical choices.
Now we can do better. Let's go along the way the soils were always living.
Yes.
Fertility is delivered by dead body of animals, dead leaves, etc. Let's bring
Decomposition.
organic fertilizers and wait for decomposition by the microbes. Let's always have plants. For example, the grasses that are growing between the vines, they just support the life of the mycorrhizal fungi during the winter, and those fungi will be fed and available for the vines to reconnect to them when they will have leaves again. So green, and of course no more till.
And can a place that has been forming with heavy pesticide, herbicide use for many, many years, and where the soil organic matter is very, very low, do they have hope to regenerate their soils over a period of time?
It will be more difficult. But it's not a reason not to do it. The only dead soils are the one like the one we have under our feet here.
Yes.
It's dead
In
because
a
it's
city,
concrete.
under concrete, yeah.
The farmers were not so deadly stupid that they killed the soil. They were just not doing the good things for the soil to be healthy. So some species disappeared, but mostly for all species of things living in the soil, they are less individual. That's the story.
Yes.
So if you restart the good procedures, you didn't lose so much. You can relaunch the machine.
You called it
do
a sleeping beauty, I believe, in one of
Yeah,
your-
that's it. It's a sleeping beauty. So kiss it. When you want to wake up a kissing beauty, you don't give her some knife scares. That's plowing. You
Yes.
don't plow.
Yeah.
You bring flowers because it's a sleeping beauty, and you give kisses, organic matter.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how to wake up the sleeping beauty. And the sleeping beauty, you know what? It's microbes, it's mushrooms,
Yes.
and it's fungi. It's just speaking to my heart.
Yeah. Where did this love for the soil, for this invisible world, come from? Microbiology.
I told you merci. I'm rather in mycology. As a child, I had a passion for fungi. I was collecting them, naming them, drawing them, drying them for a collection that my parents were looking at with
How old
their
were you?
eyes. 12.
12, okay.
And then I became a fungal ecologist.
Yes.
And to be honest, the holy grail of fungal ecology is the soil, because there are so many. I told you, it's by thousands of species that we have in our soils. And so I came to soil by way of the fungi. They were just driving me underground. I think that for an old scientist like me, I'm not so young anymore. I'm still a mycologist, but I have now to make this very last kilometer to deliver the science to the citizen for them to use it better, and we are far from that.
And so how did this passion for microbiology, for fungi, bring you to wine?
Well, the link is not obvious.
I think we have some.
Again,
Oh.
have merlu done in the style of Montreal hot chicken.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of a gravy, we do a sauce biscaïna with Nordic shrimp. I got some confit leeks underneath.
That sounds amazing.
Enjoy, guys.
Thank you
Buen
very
provecho.
much, George.
My pleasure.
I'll let you tell me your story of how you came to wine, and I'll serve you. We'll do it family style.
It's difficult not to go to wine when you have such good food, by the way. But you know, very easily as a microbiologist and someone interested in fungi, you go step by step backward in the wine. The wine is a microbial process. All the steps from the field to the cellar that brings the wine are a kind of fairy tale for microbiologists.
We talk a lot about the challenges that the wine world is facing now, but in its 8,000-year history, vineyards and wine and the wine industry has always faced challenges and always had to adapt.
So the challenge were climatic adaptation, when the wines came westward, and secondary adaptation to pathogens, which always was a story of hybridization and change. So let's be prepared for our cepage to be a snapshot of the story, but to change once.
So you don't see having to change grape varieties in certain regions or look into new grape varieties as a something dramatic or something traumatic for a vineyard. You see it as just a necessary adaptation in the
I have patience for the Pinot Noir of Burgundy.
So
I think it's reaching the sky. I can cry sometime on a glass of this kind of wine. But if the climate doesn't allow it, or if another grape variety is giving a nice wine, a high quality wine that would necessitate less pesticides against the illness of the wines, why the hell cannot we imagine something better than Pinot Noir in Burgundy? It's a scandal for most of my friends to hear that.
Of course, that's heresy.
And maybe it would not be exactly what I like so much in Burgundy, but there is not only one solution to a terroir. And I think that the strength of winemaking region is not the wine they do. It's the way they always adapted, both to the conditions, to the technology, and to the consumers.
What I love about this exchange with you today is when we talk about climate change, when we talk about all of the things that humans have done wrong, how we've negatively impacted our soils and our earth, we tend to focus on the negative, whereas you're quite hopeful.
With investing in science, we've been unearthing the procedures of nature, the way it goes. It's not an over, we don't know everything, but we know so many new things that it opens many ways of adapting and performing better. If, and only if, science is delivered to the citizens, and citizens believe in science.
Yes.
So fight for that, please.
Yes. Marc-André, It has been an honor, a privilege to speak to you today. Thank you so much for coming and sharing this meal with me.
And thank you for this game. Very nice.
Cheers.